starting
Okay.
out, do anything and you will get better,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You don't have to like overthink it too much. But
Being
for the
able to love yourself and, validate who you are without any form of expression of it. And that's why I feel like that's what true confidence is in my head. Because
It gives us a journey of self-discovery through our art. Yours might be music or film or writing.
Always been my outlook on everything in regards to life. If I see anybody who has anything, my default is if they can have it or if they can do it, so can I.
We get to
Yes.
speak. We get to do a podcast. We get to work out. We get to. It's a privilege that people often complain and take for granted.
Why do you keep comparing yourself to someone else's journey? Do you believe the only way to success is to follow exactly how someone else did it? Remember, my friend, there is always more than one way to the top of the mountain. Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. I can't keep track of what episode we're on, maybe 47, 48, maybe 46, I'm not sure, but thank you for tuning in. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Remember, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, like, comment, subscribe. It's going to help this podcast get out to more people. And if you are going to comment, let me know any future topics you would like me to speak about in the future. This is the 5th podcast I'm recording today. And the reason why I'm recording so many is because of I was sick for a long time and I hadn't recorded podcasts in a while. So today I wanted to get a lot done. So I'm on my 5th or 6th. So if I'm kind of, not speaking the best or whatever, you know why. And I'm still kind of getting over the sickness. But besides all of that, let's get into this. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because I feel that many of us believe that once we pursue something new or pursue something that we want to do, we think that if our journey doesn't compare to the person that was successful in it, that we are doing it wrong and that we will never get to that peak of the mountain that we hope for, right? But this is just wrong because not only is social media portraying a bad mindset and a bad way to view your journey, you could also look at it from a different perspective and see that so many people have become successful doing different things and doing it a different way, even if it's the same thing that you want to be successful in. So that's why I'm speaking about this today. You can always achieve a result you can be proud of, even if you don't do it the normal way, right? Because I want to give you guys an example, right? Someone that gets drafted into the NHL when they're 18 and it's first round, right? Or someone that's 24, they went undrafted, but then they get signed and then they have an amazing career, right? I know, for example, it's not the same example I just said, but look at Pekka Rinne, right? He's a goalie in the NHL. I can't remember if he still plays or not, but he got drafted in, I think, the 5th or 7th round, right? If he compared his journey to all the other goalies that went first round, he would have given up. He would have been like, oh, I'm not going to be no all-star goalie because I didn't go first round in the draft. But he still, worked hard. He still stayed consistent and he was able to become an all-star goalie in the NHL. And this is what I'm trying to say is that you can't compare your journey to everyone else's, because what it does is if your journey isn't the same as someone else's, you think your journey is going to fail. You think you are never going to reach that peak of the mountain that you are hoping for and that you are praying for, right? But that is not the case. Your journey and how you get somewhere, it will never be the same as someone else's. No matter how much you wish it is, it won't be, right? So we need to have this deep in our mind and consider this greatly, because it will not be the same. And we need to accept that, right? there's so many things, right? Like even bodybuilding, right? There's plenty of guys you see on Instagram right now that are 21, 22, they're getting their pro card, they're almost getting their pro card, and there's you just getting into lifting and you want to be a bodybuilder as well. But when you really look at it, most people aren't turning pro at that age, right? And just because you don't turn pro at that age doesn't mean you're not going to be a good pro once you do turn pro in the future, right? So this comparison is what's holding us back. This comparison is what's stopping us from staying focused and staying tunnel visioned on our own goals, right? I think there's so many benefits to social media, but there is so many negatives as well. And if you allow those negatives to consume your mind, you will see that that's what's actually holding you back, right? So you need to consider this, that just because you're not going the same way as everyone else doesn't mean you won't reach the goal that you are striving for. So many people become successful, and yes, they may have similar qualities, but none of them did the exact same thing. You know, I want to speak about the people on my podcast, right? There's plenty of people on my podcast that I would say that I had on that were successful, right? For example, Danny. Danny is an online coach. You know, he helps people lose weight and build a physique that they can be proud of. He has 20,000 followers, right? And I know I'm being very vain what I'm about to speak about, but you'll understand my point, right? Then you see other people that I've had on the podcast that have, you know, 100,000 followers or 300,000 followers or 400,000 YouTube subscribers. Does that mean that just because someone doesn't have the same amount of followers or someone doesn't have the same amount of reach that they're not successful? No, because even when I spoke to Danny on the phone, on the podcast, he is very successful. He's created a business that is generating him a good amount of income. He's living a purpose that he could be proud of. And because of that, he reached the mountain that he wanted to go for. And I know he's got different peaks and I know he's got different goals that he's striving towards that are bigger than the ones that he's achieved so far. But he went about it differently. You know, he went about it his own way. And I just use Danny as an example, but it's everyone I've had on the podcast. You know, they've all reached their success in a different way. It's just like Manta. Manta, for example, she has gained a crap ton of followers in such a short time, right? And her followers love her content and they love what she puts out there and it's inspiring. And, you know, the way she grew her platform won't be the same way you do if you're watching her and wanting to grow with content as well. You know, and you have to accept that fact, because once you accept that fact, you will be more content and more excited because your journey is unexpected and there's uncertainty with it. And if you could learn to love uncertainty, that's when you can learn to love the journey, right? Because I assume that Manta didn't expect her account to go and blow up the way it has, but that's what happened, you know, and she put in the work to get to that point. And it's very inspiring, right? Because I'm assuming she cares, but she's just doing what she wants, right? She's just posting the content that she wants and she's inspiring people. She's not thinking too much about it. You know, maybe she is. I can't speak for her. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is that everyone's journey is different. How she got there will be different from you if you want to follow a similar path to hers, right? And that's what we need to consider. And it's your time frame. Your time frame will not match the person you're comparing yourself to, right? You know, it's all about just putting in the work and climbing this great big mountain that you see in front of you. And once you're able to climb this big mountain, you're able just to accept that, you know, the person that climbed that mountain before you and told you this and this happened, you know, don't go on this ledge, don't go here, whatever. The path you are taking is different from theirs. So you need to be excited and be happy and accept that there will be different hurdles and different obstacles in your path. And once you're able to accept that, that's when you're able to start growing as a person, right? Because at the end of the day, it's self-improvement. It's improving yourself. You know, people could give you all the advice they can, But at the end of the day, it is just you trying to improve yourself. And that's what's very important, right, my friends? So, you know, even when someone you like and you care for and you're inspired by, if they're telling you to do it a certain way, don't expect the same result just because you're following the same path as them, because it won't be, because everyone's lives are different. We need to accept this fact, right? That's why I'm saying we need to enjoy the journey, because that's the best part, right? Like, I built a physique now that I could be proud of, but the journey I had with this physique was the most important thing. It's what made me the most happy, was building my physique up from nothing, right? I remember like certain times in the gym where I was working out with my friends and having a good time. I remember there was a time where I went to a powerlifting meet and I came back from the powerlifting meet and worked out again. And I can remember all these things. And that was the journey of building the physique I have today, learning. I was training very poorly in the beginning. I wasn't educated. I wasn't knowledgeable on how to build a physique, right? But once I was able to discover those things, it was all part of the journey. And now I can look back on it and be grateful that I had those moments, right, of learning and stuff, right? Because imagine if someone gave you all the information right now to be successful in what you want it to be. It wouldn't feel as satisfying once you got there, The whole part is the journey. The journey is what makes us who we are, right? Because if you just achieved all these great results without work and without a path, it wouldn't mean much. It wouldn't actually mean much. There will be unexpected roadblocks in your journey, but how you deal with them will build your character. I know I kind of speak about this already, but I just want to reiterate it. Is, someone could tell you exactly what's going to happen in your life if you do the same thing that they did. But the fact of the matter is, it's a different time, it's a different age, whatever. And what you deal with is going to be completely different from what that person dealt with, right? So this is another thing we need to accept. And in order to grow, we need to accept everything. We need to take 100% accountability. Many people will follow the same path as someone else and then complain when it doesn't go the same way it went for them. But that's not the case. It never goes like that. Someone could give you all the sauce. Someone could give you all the information before you get started into something. But then once you get into that thing, it's going to be a completely different life than what they did, right? So we need to, be grateful and accept this fact. I know, guys, I've been kind of waffling in this episode, but I have been recording for a while, so I apologize. But hopefully you are gaining some value from what I'm speaking about today. But I want to leave you guys with a quote once again. It is good to have an end to the journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end, right? And this is what I love, is it's the idea that the result is actually not as important as you think. It's the journey that you went on to get that result that made you who you are today. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and making it this far. Remember to follow us on Spotify. And if you enjoyed this episode, I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Take care, everybody, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.